think that he's doing the right thing. This is when he's going to have the most leverage. This team is in the window. He's last on the list to get paid when he should be first.
Do you think he's going to hold out? You think he's not going to show up to camp?
I would. I think Le'Veon Bell really set a precedent when he decided to stay out for a whole year. Now, I don't think Zeke will stay out a whole year, but I think he'll stay out long enough to put the pressure on them. Like I said before earlier this week, Jason Garrett didn't get that friendly 2-year extension.
No.
He's coaching for his life. He's on call, so I'm sure he's going to continue to put that pressure. Why would I care about about Cooper, who's coming in from another organization? I'm homegrown. I've lived up to my expectations. I've exceeded my expectations. He's 37% in the offense. He helps that offense and the defense. He's the best offensive player and the best defensive player because he eats up clock. He keeps the chains moving, allowing that defense to be rested, to come out so they can play with their hair on fire. He's the most important piece on that team because he makes everything go. He's the engine. Without him, you're just a shiny car.
And you don't have to be the quarterback. I know the quarterback will get the highest salary, but it don't from a priority standpoint. Remember the great teams you were on, man, the highest paid players, them defensive players. Yep. They made all that money. And to think that other guys in the locker room aren't watching and don't know, they realize the pie is this big, and they realize right now Dallas got a sliver. And to me and my family and moving forward is the most important thing. Now, I'm not going to say anything to my teammates, but we start talking about playing football. When they start passing out that money, let's start with who's the best at doing that. That's what we're here for. I used to tell Randy Moss, man, we are in the business of catching touchdowns. And he used to look at me and be like, how's business? I'd be pretty damn good. All right? So we should be getting the money, and that's what Zeke should be thinking about. I think you make a great point, even though they traded for Amari. He wasn't drafted by the Cowboys.
Not enough sweat equity.
So I could understand, and Amari being probably the quietest of them all, I could get him by a promise, I'm going to take care of you.
Yep.
Zeke's a running back. What happened the last 2 years as far as Le'Veon Bell, I believe that's very important. But also in that 2-year window, we saw a running back who was considered one of the best, Todd Gurley, get an extension with 2 years, which led Zeke and his team to believe that they should be extended next.
And let's talk about Amari for a second, because the reason we've all just said Amari has to get paid is because you gave up a first-round pick for him, so you don't want to risk losing him. But from the player's perspective, if I'm Zeke, I'm like, hold on a second. So you get higher priority because it, for rightly or wrongly, didn't work out with your first team.
Right.
Because you were on a second team, you get higher priority than me, who's been great the entire time. But Zeke also has the Cowboys' history working against him in this regard. Since Emmett, they've only given a second contract to one running back, Marion Barber. They let DeMarco Murray walk. They ran him. He was great. They ran him into the ground. They let Tennessee pay him his money. And it's not like Zeke is in the position Le'Veon Bell is, where his contract was expired. He'd played under the franchise tag. The Cowboys, if there was no human element, they would probably rightfully look at this and say, okay, we got him this year cheap, next year cheapish at the 5th-year option. If he's still great, we can franchise him once. And now we're talking about year 7, where you'd really have the screws put to you in a second potential franchise tag. But the human element is this. If Zeke has the stomach for it, he can wreck the whole thing by not showing up. I think the Cowboys can be better than the Eagles this year. I know people are very high on the Eagles. I think the Cowboys can be better. But without Zeke, they are going to be fighting to be 500. When Zeke doesn't have 100 yards rushing, oh, they're right around 500. When he doesn't have 100 scrimmage yards, they're right around 500. When he has those things, they're 16-3, 22-7. When he's out there and great, they're great. When he's not out there, they were 3-3, and when he's not great, they're mediocre. Like, they have to have him. He knows that. The question is, will he actually have the stomach for a holdout this early in his career?
What do you think, CC, though, is going to happen? How do you think the whole thing is going to play out? You think he does hold out from camp? He doesn't show up today?
In this situation, my advice would be to go to training camp, work out with my teammates, get ready for a spectacular season, because you can't get ready in the way you need to get ready at home. You can have trainers, you can have everything, but you can't have anyone dragging you down from the backside. You can't simulate blitz protection. You can't simulate two-a-days. You can't simulate the tough conditions that you have. If it was me, I'm practicing. I'm not playing in any of the preseason games. And Jerry, Steven, if we have not come to an agreement after that 4th preseason game, I'm going to be headed home. I'm not going to be coming back here, and I won't be playing this season.
But what's going to be the narrative if he gets hurt in camp? Oh, they're going to feel sorry for him. Everybody going to cry for him. But he's not going to get his money. Like, the difference between him and the other guys is he has the shortest shelf life.
Yes.
They got double the shelf life he has. He's been in the league 4 years. He's going to get hit over 500 times, or at least over 400 times. He's talking about he can be in shape to carry the ball 500 times. Let's talk about those blitz pickups and all those things. Running back, you take all the hits. And you're not just getting hit by one person. You're getting hit by 2, 3. They chopping at your legs, chopping at your knees. Right, all that. They hitting you regardless. So he's taking the biggest punishment. He's going to have the worst quality of life after football, unless, Dak or somebody gets a crazy injury. So he's going to have the worst quality of life. He needs to get paid first because he's only realistically has 4 more years at the top, where Dak can play for 16 years, where especially with the rules now. Amari Cooper is out there on the island getting tackled by little guys his size. Zeke's getting hit by defensive linemen, linebackers, blitzers, all that stuff. So he needs to get paid because he's doing all the hard work.
Well, and the other thing for the Cowboys is they paid Tyron Smith after 3 years. Todd Gurley, Zeke could come to him and say Todd Gurley, and they can say, well, that's the Rams.
Yeah, that's their business.
But then he can say, okay, Tyron Smith. He was a top, I think it was the 11th pick, but a high first-round pick, was great for 3 years. You paid him. Why would you not pay me? And Zeke now, when you look at Stephen Jones's comments from May, I'm going to keep going back to it. In May, he was asked about Zeke, and he said, we've got a couple years to figure this out. That would have set off alarm bells if I'm Zeke. When I heard Steven and Jerry talking about Dak before they got Amari, when Dak was struggling, say, oh, Dak's going to be our quarterback, we're going to pay him. In order to help Dak, they traded a first round. So think about it from this perspective. You love Dak so much, you commit to him earlier than you have to, and to support him, you trade for a guy that now also jumps me in the line.
Right.
And when I'm better than all of them. So, Zeke has some leverage because he's so good. The question is, does a guy at that age in this position have the stomach for the holdout you guys are talking about? You're saying not show up at all. You're saying don't play in any of the games, which is just a different type of holdout. It's a tough spot when you're not Le'Veon Bell, who's already been in the league 5 years, already been paid a few times.
But Le'Veon and the Steelers got nothing. They didn't get any yardage out of Le'Veon, and they didn't get anything in him in a trade. I think if it comes down like that and he decides to stay out there, they're going to have to make a move. That's why you're watching with the Chargers that, Gordon's going to have to get either traded. They're not going to sit on that, let him sit out and hit free agency and let him go and get nothing in return.
Thanks for watching. Subscribe here to get the latest from the show. Also, be sure to check out more of the best clips from First Things First, or go watch a few segments from our other shows on FS1.